What is good? We're back for another live edition of the FFD. We got a Superflex TE Premium 1.5 Dynasty mock draft ready to go. I've been a little sick, and now my voice is kind of coming in and out, so bear with me here. That's why our content's been on a little bit of a dip, but fear not. Here we are. We missed last week's live show, but this is our first one since the NFL draft has concluded. And we're interested to see our first live one, I should say. We've been firing them off in the Discord, rebuilding that ADP.
What is that? Oh, I refreshed the page.
And so now we're going to hit one live and see how it goes. So right off the rip, we have
right off the rip,
Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Jalen Hurts, CJ Stroud, Lamar Jackson, Joey Burrow, and Caleb Williams coming in at 107. So all quarterbacks off the board. We've been, like I said, we've been doing some mock drafts in the Discord, on the Patreons, and we threw a few out in the public. So make sure you're following us on all those. There's a free Patreon Discord that you can sign up for, and you can also get links to these drafts. We try to switch up some drafters in there, so it's not always the same people. So we get a couple different results because that's what we want in the ADP. But yeah, all right. So we've got our first wide receivers off the boards: Justin Jefferson, CeeDee Lamb. Quarterbacks remaining: Anthony Richardson, Justin Herbert, Kyler Murray, Jordan Love. Then we'll see where these rookie quarterbacks kind of slot in here. Feels like they were, when we were first doing this, they were a little higher, then they dropped a little lower. So let's see if they've maybe bounced back a little bit now that we have some landing spots. You know, with I think a lot of the higher end rookies in this draft, I don't know that many of their landing spots were a big surprise. So it felt like a lot of their values kind of stayed similar. So I don't know how big of a jump we'll see on a lot of those guys in these startup mocks, or in this startup mock. We haven't been seeing a crazy amount. Obviously, Ladd has jumped up a little bit, and the running backs probably have seen the biggest jump, because you will see, you know, once we get outside of the fifth round here, at that point, you're typically looking at ETN, Kyron, Achan, and Kenny Walker. And then after that, it's, you know, anybody's guess of who's who and what's what in the running back department there. So you'll see after that, then you have to start asking yourself, all right, asking the question is, after those three guys go, you have Rashad White, Cook, Pacheco, Swift. Do I just want to take the swing on Jonathan Brooks? So, or do I, and then Trey Benson, you know, is ADP is pushed down a little further in here. So you do have to scroll. So I wonder if that's been, you know, if that could cost him a few picks here or there, but I think we'll see a big jump from him as well. I know I've been drafting him because, like I said, you're in that seventh round-ish, late sixth, and I want to take, you know, one of these running backs who I've seen perform and I know is pretty good, but it's just got a butt to it. And Brooks and Benson don't have that stench, and they've kind of been, you know, a little bit on the rise post-draft. They've caught a little groundswell. Originally, I didn't think we saw a big people being stoked, and then I think some people realized, hey, these guys are slotting in, you know, somewhere in the top. Let's see here. Not important right now. We don't need to count on air. So anyway,
who are you talking about?
Let's hop back to 110 here. We got Anthony Richardson after CD and Justin Jefferson. We got Chase at the 111. We got Herbert at the 112. Kyler Murray, Jordan Love, St. Brown at 2-3, then Bijan, first running back off the board, then Puka Nacua. So we've got three guys without we got three guys without a quarterback, and one guy didn't double tap the quarterback on the wraparound. So we'll watch those teams as they get built to see the different way they have to attack the QB strategy, right? Because if you're not getting one of these guys, you're going to have to switch it up here in the third round. And hopefully you could get somebody like a Dak or Brock, you know, or you're going to have to maybe go with one of the rookies, and then it's probably a little too early for Goff and McCarthy. So you kind of have to play that QB room by, you know, kind of got to leave it up in the air and let it kind of come to you and not force it, and know that that's kind of what you have to do. So it'll be interesting to keep an eye on that part of the draft. I will say, or on those particular teams rather, I will say it does seem like there is maybe a little bit of a gap, or not a gap, but there seems like there's the grip has been loosened a little bit on Jamar Chase. Seems like he's maybe gettable right now.
Mm-hmm.
Not obviously no one's selling for dirt cheap, but
he's obtainable.
It feels like because he didn't come out and blow your doors off with some injuries, and then his quarterback was injured. Really over these last 2 years, I believe, like didn't absolutely slay. Seems like they're maybe
he's only he's wide receiver 11 and 12 the last 2 years. After coming out 5 as a rookie, he must not longer be any good.
Right. So he's still good, still very good. And I think if you can use like a Malik Neighbors to stepstone your way into a Jamar Chase, I'd be interested to see what that cost would be to jump from there to there, because we've been talking in the Discord a little bit about, and we've gotten some Neighbors stuff of what to do and trading them and all that stuff. And you can keep a guy like Neighbors and the value is going to be good, and maybe he explodes and maybe he's awesome. But the other good thing about a guy like Neighbors is that it's a good stepping stone to get to a higher ranked receiver if you want to kind of get on him and get on one of the more known commodities like an Amon-Ra St. Brown. He scores a ridiculous amount of points. He's good. Jared Goff's there for a long time. They didn't bring in another wide receiver. So it's, Jameson, it's crap or get off the commode, but going from Neighbors to St. Brown, if you could, and pay a little extra to get the known and get the points, is something that I think is very doable at this point. And that's what some of those higher end unknown assets can get you, a nice, good, firm footing into getting up into a known, really good player in a high tier. Not to say that I'm, getting off of every single rookie. Just sometimes it's nice to go get that young stud that is good, rather than playing it by ear with what Neighbors may or may not be. And I'm just using Neighbors as an example because we've gotten a few questions in the last couple of days in the Discord. All right, we got Dalton Kincaid first. Tight end off the board. That's the earliest I've seen a tight end go on a lot of our drafts here.
Spicy.
But I do like Kincaid a good bit. But I've been having to make choices in the 4th and 5th round on what to do at tight end, really. But now we got early tight end movement here, 2-6 and 3-1. And again, I apologize for my voice if it crackles, goes in or out. It's been a struggle for the last little bit here for your boy. So bouncing back, but we got Trevor Lawrence then going 2-7. We got Jaden Daniels going 2-8. That's some of the higher end numbers I've seen from him. We're real close to getting another ADP together this draft and one more finishing up, and we'll be able to have a little post-draft ADP. But we do have some pre-draft ADP that we can reference in here to see kind of if we've seen any big changes here. So that's a nice little tool for you.
We do have post-draft rookie ADP. We're about to, I think, after this draft tonight, and we got one finishing up, we'll have enough sample size.
That's what I just said.
Yeah. Well, I wanted to show the rookie. We do have post-draft rookie
do
ADP.
you have the other ADP on there or no?
Sure.
So then we have Marvin Harrison. AJ Brown's been, certainly becoming a discount. Seems last draft I just did, I got him at the turn in the 3-1, 3-2 area, and here 2-10. So the grip is certainly lessened on AJ Brown, now, but a little older, I believe. Is AJ Brown 27?
Simmons is old.
So, not
26, but
26
on here.
Yeah, I don't know if he's gonna when his birthday is, but
right.
Getting a little older, but he was so damn dominant, and when he's out there, he's so damn good. He signed up for a long time. Hurts has signed up for a long time. Devonta Smith signed up for a long time. Now the Eagles, interestingly, have brought in a lot more wide receiver depth, whereas over the last few years, if they had any injuries, that position wasn't super duper solid. But they've brought in some interesting depth pieces, which is I like for them. And of course, you have Kellen Moore calling the shots over there. I still like Kellen Moore. I think he's going to do good things for this Eagles offense and Jalen Hurts, and the Eagles are going to be right back to an offense that nobody really wants anything to do with. You add Saquon to that mix. It's a whole lot of fun, hard to defend.
AJ Brown will be 27 next month.
Okay. So going into his 27th season, 27th-year-old season. All right, we got Brees, got 211, Gibbs at 212. Love that value. That's outstanding. Those guys at the turn there, getting Mahomes and Allen, and then Brees and Gibbs. That's a real fun stack right there. We got Laporta at 3-1, Garrett Wilson at 3-2, Christian McCaffrey at 3-3, Malik Neighbors at 3-4, Purdy at 3-5. So Big Co right there comes in and just really just starts with two killer receivers and then comes right in and he missed the first kind of big wave, missed the second wave of quarterbacks, and now Brock Purdy's just sitting there screaming value to grab of just getting a starter who is going to put up points. I don't think it's all of a sudden going to be Brock Purdy's a fluke. This was QB6, I believe, last year, was putting up some of the better numbers in the league and has a healthy offseason this year. We didn't even have a healthy offseason last year. So we'll see kind of where that goes. They've added some weapons there in San Fran. So you gotta like Brock at 3-5 there, really giving you flexibility to start in a different way and get a shirt up quarterback. Now, he can come back and potentially grab that next kind of group of quarterbacks in the Cousins and the Watsons and the Baker Mayfields, Bryce Young. If you want to take a shot, you're probably not going to get a shot at Jared Goff, but who knows? He might be there on the way back, and then he goes bang bang, and he's got two great starting quarterbacks, and two of the deadliest wide receivers in the league. So we'll watch that one. Rome Odunze, excuse me, at 3-6, Tyreek Hill at 3-7, Jonathan Taylor at 3-8. So I feel like that's pretty good. Pretty good, Taylor. Seeing him fall and float down. Dak at 3-8 or 3-9 is ridiculous. My man, Alex over there, Dynasty Football Key. He's got Stroud, Harrison, and Dak Prescott. I think he has a YouTube channel, so make sure you go check that out. He's hitting you with some stats and information. But that's a fun start, man, and being able like just like I said with Brock, like Dak was ridiculous for a pretty big stretch of last year. They don't really add anything, but I think they can be, Dak can be right back to where he was. You got CD, you got Ferguson, you got Cooks. Maybe Tolbert takes a step forward. Brought Zeke back, so that's fun, I guess. Drake London 310, Chris Olave 311. Me and Austin just did a show, some buy lows, and we talked to Chris Olave, and he was alluding to Chris. Remember when people were down on CeeDee Lamb, thinking that he wasn't as good as everybody maybe thought he was, but had still been putting up pretty good numbers. And Chris Olave kind of screams to that narrative right there, where I think he can put up huge numbers. He's already put up back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons, and he's hit some really good markers for receivers, only being 2 years in the league, of being up there with some of the better receivers in the league historically. So go check that episode out. We talk a little bit more about that, but a solid buy in Chris Olave.
We had a comment on that video. It was like, no one's low on Chris Olave, and I'm like, you'd be surprised. Like, no one likes the QB sitch there, and
yeah, people are definitely low on Chris Olave.
Yeah,
not
in my one league.
Right. And Jalen Waddle, we've been talking about Jalen Waddle for a while. So Chris Olave, Jalen Waddle, some of the bigger, higher end buys that I think, that you can certainly, not every league, man, all these buys, somebody might really like him in those leagues, but it does seem like he's being pushed down, Olave and Waddle, by people who are just like we talked a little bit about Chase, and that same person can say nobody's low on, well, in your two leagues, nobody's low on Chase, but he's obtainable. It seems like because people are impatient and he's not the best of the best.
He went from 5 to 12.
Yeah. And 11 and 12,
yeah.
So he's not, hadn't given me a top 5 season and, since his rookie year or whatever. So people tend to get a little impatient. And that's a good time. That's a good time to go ahead and grab, Chris Olave or Drake London. I would probably lean Chris Olave there, right? I mean, I like Drake London a whole lot, but I gotta lean Chris Olave right there.
You can't go wrong.
I don't think you can go wrong. I'm just saying, like, bang, right there. You got Drake London and Chris Olave going back to back.
Give me London.
There's some, yeah, sure. I mean, I don't
feel it in my plums.
I think Drake's going to be plenty good. That's probably a tier break for me between those two guys.
Down in my plums.
Chris Olave's already shown us just how good he can be.
Yeah.
Drake, we've seen it a little bit. It's partially not his fault, but also partially not Chris Olave's fault that he's not slaying it. He's putting up good numbers. So I like Chris Olave there. Brandon Ayuk at 4-1. Kyron Williams at 4-2. Trey McBride at 4-3. Tua at 4-4. So now he's gone Stroud. F-ball key has gone Stroud, Harrison, Prescott, and Tua. We got Brock Bowers at 4-5. We got Saquon Barkley at 4-6. To be quite honest with you, if I'm taking any tight end, I think I'm taking Trey McBride. I think he might be the number one tight end for me. I mean,
gee, let me think. Sure.
Not that I can argue with those other guys. Like, I like all the other guys, and it's not a big, but like if I'm taking one first and early, I guess it would be him. He's still pretty young and just, I like you. Yeah. I mean, I think he's going to catch 1 million passes and be awesome again. Kincaid, love him. I think he's going to be awesome too. So, but where we're at, that mid-3, later mid-4s, that seems to be the sweet spot right there for tight ends. If you want one of the big dogs, you got to take them. They went a little early in this draft here, and then McBride and Bowers go off the board, and you still have the likes of Kyle Pitts, Mark Andrews, and Hawkinson. So, in that 5th round, you have to now start to decide, do you want, and there goes Kyle Pitts. So we're not even going to get to the 5th round, but you want Andrews, you want a shot at elite tight end production here. If you don't have one, you could grab Mark Andrews, you could grab TJ Hawkinson. Both have been, both one was very injured, and Mark Andrews has missed some chunks of time over the last few years, but has been up in the top 1, 2, 3 of tight ends, and we know can put up big numbers with Lamar Jackson. So probably both really good picks in the 5th round there, especially in tight end premium, to go ahead and shore up that position. So that's not a position where you're having a big gap week to week from some of the higher end teams if they built their team correctly and have those high end tight end assets, which can help you win those weeks. See that Travis Kelce going at 4-10. I can't fuck with that. That's probably a little too early. Is he going to go absolutely slay? Probably, but that seems pretty early for old Trav there. But signed a new deal, so
2 years
locked up over there for a while. Yeah, but I mean, you got that Tay money.
Try to get that copyright flag again.
Got that Tay money, so I mean,
does he? He hasn't locked it down yet.
No, but I mean, he's over there palling around with her. So I mean, you never know. You could have been like, all right, I won the Super Bowl. I'm out.
I just can't wait for them to get married so they can finally have sex.
All right, so there goes Travis Etienne, and now we're kind of into this zone of these running backs. Although Kyron and Travis Etienne went, so where I've been kind of seeing the 5th round be that spot for the decision between Kyron, Etienne, and drawing a blank, Achane and Kenneth Walker. That's where I've kind of been seeing those guys, but not to say that there isn't some variance, so they go a little earlier, but it's usually a little closer here. And Saquon seems pretty early there at 4-6, but I mean,
all of a sudden Casey's really trying hard to pronounce Achane's name right.
People back. Well, I've just said it enough now that it's just in there at this point. Like,
yeah, just like off the rip isn't.
Well, sure. That feels pretty early to Saquon. We saw Saquon, I don't know what it was pre-draft, but probably like mid-5th, 6th round. So not really sure. We've seen him in a few drafts after the NFL draft go up in that 4th round, which just seems awfully early to me. I wonder if you could have waited around and see kind of what happens there, but you never know. Take your guy. Barkley goes out and slays for 3 more years. Nobody cares that pick was maybe a half a round early. And at that point, what are we talking about? We got Devontae Smith at 4-10 or 4-12, and then Zay Flowers, the wraparound pick. So coming in from the 12 spot, we got Herbert and Murray. I love that. Like Herbert is just like we talked about Chase, there's a major loosening of the Herbert grip that just seems like Jim Harbaugh is going to get a hold of Herbert and just turn him into the LA Chargers into a powerhouse, and Herbert's going to be the crux of that. He can do so much. And I really just love the value right now that we're seeing on Justin Herbert. I'd be taking any of those rookie quarterbacks outside of Caleb Williams and figuring out, like we're saying with the neighbors, the stepping stone. How can I get from Jaden Daniels to Justin Herbert? How can I get from Drake May to Justin Herbert? Which we haven't seen. Drake may go off the board here, so he's hanging out for a little bit. JJ's still on the board, so we got a couple of quarterbacks. Then Bryson, Kirk, Deshaun, Baker, Penix, Nix. Levis is certainly a fun option too. I think that's kind of like getting that Baker territory, 8th round-ish. We'll see where they go tonight, but that's kind of where we've been seeing those guys float around. And we got Michael Pittman, or we got Mark Andrews here at 5'2". And we got Pittman at 5'3". We got Tank Dell at 5'4". Back to this little wraparound team. He's got Herbert, Murray, Laporta, Smith, and Flowers. I like that. That's a fun start. We'll see how we address the running back room moving forward. So no green dots there, but that's okay. We can come back a little later and smack a couple of green squares there and make get us a nice little chunk and be able to compete. So we'll see how that plays out. TJ Hawkinson at 5'5". Good. I think that's pretty strong value. Now we got a quarterback situation potentially that we're unsure of, and then we have an ACL, MCL. So
only 26.
If not for that, I think
you wouldn't get him here.
I think he's probably a 3rd rounder if he finishes the season healthy, because he was slaughtering.
He's probably tight end 1 if he finishes the season healthy.
He was absolutely slaughtering. So there's a 5th round HN, and we'll see if we get maybe a 5th round Kenny 3 sticks. Kittle. That's some early Kittle right there. That's some early Kittle right there. I've been Kittle hangs around in these ADP mocks that we're doing and really could slay for you if you pick them up. I mean, even sometimes you're seeing them 7th round still hanging. So that was an early scoop by Kittle, and for me, what I've been seeing, I've been these last couple of mocks, I've been drafting from them, not drafting here, but I've been drafting from the back half, and I find that around late 4s, that 4'11", 4'10", 4'12", a lot of the wide receivers are gone, and DJ Moore is like the next best one. And I feel like if you're building a contender right off the rip, I would probably rather have DJ Moore than all the, from Nico Collins back. I'd probably rather have DJ Moore as as the guy that I trot out there every week. Now we do have a rookie quarterback, so that's got to be a little bit of a question mark in the back of your mind. But I'm very interested to see DJ Moore fall down here. And opposite of my philosophy, I've been taking him ahead of all those other guys because I love Flowers, I love Smith, I love Dell. We know Dell and Collins can both put up wide receiver 1 numbers. We know Pittman can put up wide receiver 1 numbers, but just feels like DJ Moore feels pretty assured to go out and do that this season, and maybe have one of his better seasons ever. Now I know there's a lot of target competition there, so but there's also a lot of target competition for Dell and Nico, and Pittman is TBD whether the new target competition for him matters at all, or if it's all Anthony Richardson, or how much Anthony Richardson can support. So we shall see.
Here we got a real quick question. I think it'd be an easy one. Have a trade in my inbox of May 25 first, Ray Davis for Herbert. I think you stop right there. I don't know. You have to add a first to May to your Herbert.
What did he just ask?
But you get back a 25 3rd and 4th. So he's got an offer to get Herbert a 3rd and a 4th for May, giving up May and a 25 1st and Ray Davis.
Yeah, I mean, I'd see if I can get the 2nd back.
Yeah, move that 3 up to a 2.
Yeah. And
you could
drop the 4 out.
If that trade's in your inbox, you got to counter with something not as good as that.
Yeah, I would.
Unless it's just like a fantastic
I would try
offer.
to get the 2 back, but I like that. I mean, I got no problem taking that offer if you don't want to play that game.
Yeah.
I mean, whatever. What it costs you maybe May's awesome, and maybe Herbert stinks now all of a sudden. But I feel very confident that Harbs is going to turn that ship around, and Herbert's going to be just a fan. Like, he's going to game manage the shit out of things, and then absolutely put up points at other times. And even on the game managing games, I think Herbert's still going to put up good fantasy numbers. So May's 50-50 proposition at this point, right? You know?
Yeah, I mean, best case scenario is 50-50. Yeah, he's pushed. If you didn't see, he pushed his glasses up on his face. Real quick, I got to shout out to Henry Mudo. I don't know. Hopefully, I didn't. One way or another, I mispronounced it. He has always been begging for one QB content, and we finally gave him a rookie mock, and everybody was like, "Oh my God, thank you so much for the one QB content." Now I broached the subject with Casey about a one QB startup mock, and he's like, "I'm not interested." Basically, right?
Nah.
Why?
I don't want to do that. I'm good.
We'll explain how to watch a Superflex mock and get your one QB content out of it.
I mean, just take the quarterback, just remove the quarterbacks
altogether.
I mean, pretty much for a while. I mean, you can slap in the big dogs, the Mahomes and Allen and the Hurts, the guys who could score.
When there's a tier break, if you want to take a difference maker, at a quarterback position, I'm fine with that.
But I mean, all the other stuff is relatively the same. You just got to move the quarterbacks all back. I don't want to do a one QB mock. I'll do. We did the rookie mock, and
that's probably all you're getting.
We'll probably get one QB mock in some point in the off season of
we'll do one.
Yeah, probably. We'll probably get you one. Feel like we have to do at least one. But no,
we probably should have some ADP. I don't know.
For them, no, absolutely not.
No ADP?
No way. It is a grind to get all the other ADP. Very helpful and useful, but to have even more drafts going on, I'm all set. Anyway,
we need a draft manager.
Hit
us up.
We got a guy with 4 quarterbacks. The football keys over here. He's got Stroud. He's got Prescott. He's got Tua, and he's got Drake May. So when we're talking Superflex, one of the better currencies in the hierarchy of currencies of value wise is certainly quarterbacks, right? You got a proposition in May that could be good. You could potentially use him for a stepping stone, like we've been talking about all night. Tua is probably significantly undervalued. If he goes out and performs and somebody needs a quarterback, they'll probably be dying to get Tua if he's got a bunch of good numbers next to his name, which is not necessarily out of the question. And Dak that was major value. So I think he just scooped up all the best values he thought were there, which I like. But sometimes that can then start affecting kind of the rest of the draft. We were already a little deep in it by the point where these 3 ran off the board like that in a row. If there was people waiting, they could start to get nervous. But this is fairly standard stuff here. Seeing Bryce and Watson, Kirk, McCarthy at the edge of the edge of 5 into 6.
That's crazy value on Tua and Dak. That doesn't usually happen that way, does it? I guess
Dak's been slipping, baby. Dak has been slipping, and Tua is the guy that nobody really wants. They're just like, yeah.
Well,
sure. I mean, I'm right now. I'm not saying I'm any different. I got a foot in. I'm not jumped firmly planted in.
Why?
It seems like they could switch quarterbacks when the contract's up, and it doesn't seem for certain. They don't seem 1,000% locked into Tua, and if Tua is not in that system, then the value goes down to he'll still be a starter and still be fine, but he's going down into probably that 6, 7, 8 range. And we'll see if he bounces back a little bit or fades back even a little further.
So this is his 5th year, huh? 5th year option.
So it'll be, is it his 5th year?
He's got stats for 2020, 21, 2, and 3. This will be 24. This is 5th year.
It'll be interesting. They pay him, and then I think that value really stabilizes.
How do they not pay him?
I don't
have to pay him, I think.
I don't know. It would seem so, but
he's getting paid.
I think he's
to stock up.
Underrated quarterback, gets shit on a lot and is pretty good. But
you're also biased because you're a lefty.
Well, no, I mean, I think Tua's always, we've always kind of caped for Tua over here. Like, I mean,
air yards or the deep ball accuracy is fantastic. Real quick, I made a comment about usually the quarterbacks don't fall, especially like those couple of quarterbacks don't fall that far in most of the mocks that we do anyway. I haven't been in a ton of them, but when you're in those home leagues, when you get in a Superflex startup, you have to just feel it out, because sometimes it'll just be all quarterbacks, and then sometimes people don't give a don't care at all about quarterbacks.
Yeah.
So you got to be fluid, and
Sure.
every draft's different. You can't come into the comment section and be like, no one, nothing, never does this. Like, man, there's like millions of drafts going on. Like,
Yeah. I mean,
put yourself in all those people's shoes.
every year you get in a rookie draft. Not all of them. Like some of them are just like chalk, and then you get one where you go, oh shit, that was great. Like he's 10 picks earlier and he went 5 picks later. I've been trying to trade.
Don't they know Twitter ADP?
Right. Some people just aren't, and I'm reading a lot of stuff out there. I'm seeing a lot of trades out there. I'm seeing trades in my league go down. So that's, what the precipice we're talking about, whether the value's low or high, and where we're seeing ADP, and then opposed to where I might have them ranked. Like, so I think that's.
Yeah. I mean, anytime we get a trade question, I like go over to the ADP and see where these players are going. And it tells you kind of, you're not like losing value or you're gaining value. Now,
right.
The value of where those players are that you're trading might not be accurate according to what you think about that player. So that weighs into it. I've seen a lot of people trading away Watson, but they've been getting respect on his name almost. And I'm like, well, Watson's value is lower than it probably should be. It definitely could be, but where it is right now, it's not a bad trade. In fact, you're getting good value on it, but he could end up being better than Kyler Murray. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Next year. So anyway,
back
to the mock.
Yeah, I like it. 6th round then, or we got Kirk right after Drake May. When we talked about those 3 quarterbacks, we got McCarthy at 5'11". We got Cook at 5'12". So Cook now, with some of those running backs being gone, I think slid up a little higher than he usually goes in white too, I think. And our ADP that should be coming out soon here. T, DK, Ladd, Justin, or Jordan Addison. This is the Zay, Dell, Pittman, Nico, Smith, Higgins, DK. That's the next big kind of tier gap break after these next run of guys go. Then it becomes, when do you want to take Debo? Then there's a bunch of old guys. Then you got to start talking about some of those 28, 29-year-olds. Then you got to start looking at what are the rest of the rookies left like. And then we'll get to a point in this draft where I think there's some really, really good value still of killers in your lineup that won't kill you in your lineup, in that 7 to 10 range wide receiver wise. And really there's some running backs. They're not as fun and sexy, but still probably going to go out there and score you some points. Bo Nix, Levis are the quarterbacks really of note left. That could be interesting. Mayfield and Stafford. Stafford probably going, forcing Dirty South, maybe his hand a little bit to go a little early on Stafford. He might hang around until 8 a lot of the time, but he's only has Penix and Stafford, so he's got to come back through here and make some picks. Hopefully, maybe he's hoping for Will Levis here. Maybe he's going to load up on the Daniel Jones, Geno Smith, Derek Carr types a little later. We'll see. Bo Nix certainly an option potentially. So, but that Jordan Addison, that range of guys, Ladd is probably one of the bigger movers from pre-draft to post-draft. I was really collecting Ladd shares in these drafts that we were doing before this, and now they're almost impossible to get. Bryce Young 6'6". I like that. I'm really falling in like with Regime Canales over there.
Falling in like
with the Panthers there. We'll talk about that throughout the offseason. But I like what he has going on.
Like him.
I like what he has going on, and really at the end of the day, like that's what you want to be buying into, right? You want to be buying into a system, and we're not sure if he's quite in the tree of trust, but like you want to buy in the system that is going to get the right players to run their system and develop those players correctly, and that's a huge part of this game and a huge part of why things work or don't work out. Never felt like Frank Reich and the boys really had anything all heading in the same direction, and it really it's the vibe seems like Canales really has things going in the right direction and really is getting the parts and pieces that he wants. So I think Bryce Young in that mid-6 is a really fun stab. Now, it's hard to pull the trigger when Deshaun Watson's still on there, and I kind of know what I can get from Deshaun. And if he elevates back to another level, oh my God, for that 6th round Deshaun, I don't know how much Bryce Young is going to be some crazy elevator who gets back up into the 2nd round at some point, but I think he can be a very, very good QB2 from here forward. That Kenny Walker value is great. There goes Xavier Worthy, George Pickens at 6'12", fun pick. JSN like that. This is a great 4 receivers. So we'll see again how he dresses the rest of this. And then this is kind of what I'm talking about. After you get past that chunk of the Addisons and Pittmans and Worthy and Pickens, then you get into Jaden Reed. If he's like the last young potential really good guy out of there. And Rashi's obviously fallen down a little bit from some off the field things, but then Brian Thomas, Debo. So it gets it, and Devontae Adams just, so it gets a little interesting after that drop off around, coming through that 3, 4, 5, hammering some receivers. Seems like pretty good practice right now. Because I think there's, a big differential and then that comes around late 7 with those guys. So
Caleb Williams or Jaden Daniels in a 25 first.
I mean, I guess I would probably take Caleb Williams because I think he's for real. But I mean, that's not a bad, if you have Jaden Daniels as your 1-2 player, then that's a lot of money to move back off of that. But yeah, I mean,
you got to pay up to get the guy you want. How much you want?
You do. I mean, obviously, Jaden Daniels could be the better player, and that could be a terrible trade. But that's kind of how this works. Jaden Daniels went a little higher in this one, but Caleb Williams is a, 1-7 through 110 startup draft before he's even laced him up. So, and I think he's going to be just fine. So,
nice little plug for the player pages, the rookie draft kit that's live over on the patreons.com/FF Dynasty.
Got a lot of stats and information on all these rookies over there, so you can go ahead and check that out for the $5 holler.
We also got a free membership on the Discord. Free little portion of the Discord is free.
Yeah. So if you go over there, sign up for all that. You can get in the Discords. That's where we're doing all these mocks and whatnot. And we do throw some out to the public, so follow us on the Twitters at the FF Dynasty. Make sure you're doing all that, and then of course like and subscribe if you haven't already, so you can. We'll keep going live. My voice will continue to improve, and my energy level will continue to improve. I got to keep this voice in check right now.
No hetero.
Yeah. Isaiah Pacheco at 7'7", then Brooks at 7'8". So he was probably closer to that 10th round ish area in the old ADP. So he's really crept up there, and then it's basically like I was saying a little earlier in this thing is like. You get in that 5th. This case, it was a little bit more of the 4th, and 5th, and then after that, you're looking at, do I want Pacheco, Rashad White, or do I want Jonathan Brooks? And a lot of the times, I'm saying Jonathan Brooks because in that case, I guess I'm banking on the unknown of Jonathan Brooks potentially being a workhorse, good studded out player that's going to get a lot of opportunity. And I mean, Pacheco is pretty much already getting that, so you can certainly make that argument. But I think I want Jonathan Brooks. Also, I'm in like with the Panthers a little. So Rashee Rice 7'9". That's probably outstanding value on Rashee Rice. Just F Ballkey's just a value collector right here. So
yeah, I mean he's not going to be out of the league, right?
I mean,
what was the recent?
If he keeps fucking up,
was there something from SMU?
No, he allegedly punched a cameraman at somewhere after his little incident with his crash.
That was after that?
Yeah.
I thought I saw something about NFL teams knew what happened at SMU, and I'm like, I didn't hear about that.
Oh, I mean, he probably
did something else.
I mean, a lot of these dudes probably did some silly shit in college,
But if they didn't get caught, then I'm okay drafting them. But the guys that got caught, I'm gonna get on my moral high horse and not draft those guys.
Right.
We're playing a game about fantasy football, guys. Like, we're not asking these dudes to watch our kids.
Yeah. So we got Joe Mixon at 7'10". We got Joku at 7'11". We got Nix at 7'12". Levis at 8'1". So that's two nice shots there. What's his quarterback? So he's got Mahomes and then Nix and Levis. I don't hate that at all. That's a fun little stab. He's got some good players. So and he's got Mahomes. So now he's got 3. Hopefully, he can get a starter out of Nix and Levis every week. He's got Devontae Adams, and then Trey Benson went 8-3. Like I said, I've been finding myself 7-10-ish. Going Benson, young, just in the same vein as Brooks, younger, potentially could be taking over a really big role, especially after Connor is out of the way there. And built like a workhorse, can handle the workhorse load. I think, I know he didn't catch a ton of passes, but like saw him make some pretty good grabs through his college career. So I think Benson is a fine receiver in that route. And then we got Stephon Diggs going 8-4, Cooper Kupp 8-5. So we're really into the olds here. We got Devontae Smith going 8-6. We got Geno Smith 8-7. So it's Rodgers and Smith early. So the balls got sucked up a little tight there with the quarterbacks. Those guys usually you can wait a second.
You lost me. Balls got sucked up really tight.
Everybody got a little tense. Rodgers at 8-9. That seems aggressive for me. But if you need him and you think you got a really good chance to win, Lamb, Robinson, Neighbors, Pitts, Dell, nice starting lineup, and then Penix for the future and Stafford and Rodgers for now. Circa 2010, that would have been like, oh my God, he's got Rodgers and Stafford. Keon Coleman going at 8-8, Derrick Henry 8-10, David Montgomery 8-11, and then Terry McLaurin at 8-12. So be interested to see where these other rookie running backs go here, because Wright and Marshawn Lloyd are a little further down here, as well as Blake Corum. So see if this Kyron team maybe at some point makes a swing at Blake Corum. We shall see. But Terry McLaurin and Mike Evans, he's got JSN, so maybe he doesn't get a starter this year full time there, but McLaurin and Evans can certainly do that for you. So end teams really bolstering up receiver, got himself a stud tight end. He's just gonna have to figure out a running back here at some point. So kind of see how that team ends up playing out. Let's see how some other teams are drafting here, like Derrick Henry at 8-10. I don't know. Do I want 30-year-old Derrick Henry at 8-10? I'm not sure if I do. I might take Alvin Kamara there if I want an older running back who can score some points. Is he on the board or off the board? Did I miss Kamara somewhere? Nope, he just went. So
yes, he did. 9-6.
9-4.
That's what I said.
I thought you said 9-6.
I did.
All right, so we've got Henry, we've got Montgomery, we got Terry, we got Mike Evans. So we've got a good chunk of the older guys kind of out of the way, which is interesting because I feel like one or two goes and then some of them kind of sit. But the Christian Kirk pick here at 9-3 is just, I feel like that is just about as good as it gets in this range here. It just doesn't feel like a miss. It feels like something you can crank up that wide receiver 3 or the second flex position and throw Christian Kirk kind of right in there. And he's not terribly old, so you're getting a fair amount of years out of that position. And I mean, I don't know that anybody would be particularly shocked if Christian Kirk is not necessarily the Jaguars quote unquote number 1 receiver, but at the end of the year, he's got the most targets and most receptions. Like that wouldn't shock me by any means. So there goes Alvin Kamara. We got Ricky Pearsall at 9-5. We got Aaron Jones at 9-6, and we got Ramondre Stevenson coming in at 9-7. So Ramondre is an interesting one. Obviously, Tony Pollard or Antonio Gibson in the backfield with Ramondre, but just a big drop off from the production we saw 2 years ago to this one. And I don't know that I can attribute all that to Ramondre Stevenson just getting that much worse as the Patriots just getting that much worse. So probably some pretty good value in Ramondre. at this point in the drafts. I believe I've been seeing them go a little later than that, but it looks like these boys are hot and heavy on their running backs. Aaron Jones going at 9.6, Calvin Ridley 9.8. Let's look at some other wide receivers that are on the board. We got Amari, Chris Godwin, which Godwin, Christian Kirk. I'm a sucker for Hollywood Brown. Official name change on the docket here. No longer Marquise. Hollywood in the sleepers. And Deontay Johnson. So those guys, once we get into this 8th, 9th round, those are my wide receiver targets heavy. And if you want the rookies, I think Leggett and AD Mitchell are my rookie choices kind of coming through there. I think I've been getting AD Mitchell somewhere in the 10th, 11th round. Christian Watson also seems like he's kind of really floating into being a pretty good buy situation. I haven't been super in on Christian Watson, but it seems like he's been kind of hanging around in the 11th round as well. And I don't know. We've seen some really big, explosive, high-level plays from Christian Watson, and we've seen some injury and probably a little letdown. It's crowded there, we know it. But if you're going to give me good value on Christian Watson, I'll snap him up. But yeah, so anyway, the stabs I'd be taking here, like I like the Pearsall, Calvin Ridley's a fine pick there. I think good shot, but Godwin, Hollywood, Kirk, and Deontay Johnson are my wide receiver shots in this area. I just feel like get a really, really solid starting player here that isn't on the super old end of things. Godwin maybe being the oldest of those guys. Amari hanging around, of course, always perennially a good value. Some people are maybe a little more into Josh Downs than AD Mitchell. I was in a draft, maybe the last one that we did, the slow mock, and people were asking why AD Mitchell over Downs, and I just I would, right? I mean,
seems easy. I mean, I like Downs,
right, and I do too. And I
don't want to pay late first Superflex rookie draft pick for Downs.
Yeah,
though.
I mean,
that's where you get. That's where you got to take
AD Mitchell's.
I guess early too.
AD Mitchell's like 2.4 to 2.7. At least that's kind of what I've been seeing. Superflex tight end premium. And here, he's kind of proven that out. He's hanging around, with Leggett and Mitchell, guys that go around that area, Polk. But I think some people are really down on AD Mitchell. I don't. People might think I'm down on AD Mitchell because I never rank him. It's like you give me him in the middle of the second round, I'll take him all day long. You give me him in the 10th, 11th round, I'll take it here. The problem is we don't know. Yeah, there's some holes in his analytical profile, and there's some maybe he doesn't try on every route kind of stuff. It is what it is, but he's also really, really dripping with huge time, big time upside. And he's gonna
wipe me down.
He's gonna most likely line up in the 2 wide receiver sets. I don't have the personnel usage in front of me of exactly what they did last year. But it just feels like with AD Mitchell, you could have a potential wide receiver 1. With Downs, you're probably most likely, if he does hit and is what you think he can be, it's probably a wide receiver 2, borderline 3 for the most part of what you'd be seeing from Downs. So that's kind of the difference. You certainly could see more volume from Downs. Downs could be Anthony Richardson's boy and just be collecting PPR points. But that's why I'm taking the shot on AD Mitchell, and I'll take the shot on Xavier Leggett too. I know people don't love a lot of people go to college for 7 years with Xavier Leggett there, but he produced at a really high level over the last year at Carolina, and again on that Carolina, I think I'm falling in like kind of situation. I think he can really shine, and he's going to be I think he's going to be one of those guys who you look back on and you study that profile a little harder because everyone hated him because he didn't produce right away. And there's, again, context to that. Every time we talk about him, we kind of bring it up. But a really good, I think he's got a really good chance to really explode at the next level. He's just got all the physical tools and traits, and he doesn't have the early breakout age. But he came in and dominated. He came in and dominated. And I get it. The argument is you should be dominating at a young age instead of dominating 19-year-olds when you're 22. Like, okay, understood. But he came out there and absolutely put a crazy season up this past year and looked awesome doing it. Measurables and combine stuff all checked out. So I like taking the swing there. That could be potentially Carolina's one for 6-7 years here. Or it's a miss. Maybe it's a miss. Maybe it's Mingo. People think Mingo. We've already closed the book on Mingo. He's got to stink.
Definitely.
And maybe he does, but I don't mind taking the swing on Leggett. Leggett, Watson, AD Mitchell, nice swings there, and Jameson Williams. We stay caping for Jameson. Just slow start to the career, injury. They didn't draft another guy, so he's their wide receiver too. Like we mentioned earlier, it's kind of shit or get off the pot with Jameson Williams here. It's if you can get out there and be healthy and put up some numbers, we've started to see him transform, I think, into what the Lions want out of him. He's been doing the little things and being more of learning how to be an actual wide receiver throughout the season last year. You could see some progression in the different ways they were using him and him, doing the little things on the field to potentially maybe earn him the chance to get this 2 role and really explode on the scene this year. So if you can get I like these 10th round, big swings, a lot of fun there, a lot of upside there. Sam Howell going 10-3 is egregious. That's pretty aggressive right there. I guess you're just banking on the fact that you think Sam Howell's going to take Geno Smith's job in camp. You could wait a while for a Howell there. I think that was a little crazy. But hey, maybe you're right. If in 3 months it could be like Sam Howell is just crushing. And I like drafting Sam Howell. Like I do. He's played year one, had some good games, got put in a shitty situation, got hit a lot, sacked a lot. They didn't run the ball in Washington. And I think this is a nice start over, get him with Brandon Grubb. I think he can thrive in that situation. And maybe they do feel like they have their next guy and they won't pay Geno, but Geno's 99% sure going to be the starter this year. And let Hal sit. So I just don't think you have to spend that 10th round capital there. Evan Ingram, what a nice pick there at 1.5 or in 1.5 premium here for tight ends. That's just a point scoring entity right there. Obviously they had some injuries in Jacksonville, but I mean over 100 catches last year. That's crazy. Evan Ingram just crushed, and you got Jake Ferguson, so you double dip there. You got receiver, Rice might not start, but you got Diggs, so he's got Marvin Harrison. So he needs to maybe dig a little more out of a wide receiver hole here, and needs a little help with running backs. So we'll kind of see how that goes. Zamir White's an interesting one at 10-8. I don't think I can pull the trigger at that high with Zamir White. There is a lot of upside there potentially if that's his backfield and he just dominates it and crushes. Seems like there's some other shots I'd rather take there that feel like bigger home runs or safer swings where we know Alexander Madison's not great, but like I forgot he was even there, but he can muddy that thing up in a hurry. I like Zamir, but I just, I don't know long-term what that situation is going to be for Zamir. So that's really the thing that kind of holds you back there. Tony Pollard, 10-9, Deontay Johnson, 10-10, Derek Carr, 10-11, Justin Fields, 10-12. See, that's like, if I'm going to do what Jimmy Box did there, take Fields. Take Fields there at 10-12 or at 10-3. And get yourself potential upside, right? Like he could win that camp battle. There's a lot better chance that he wins that camp battle, and it's a cheat code for you this year.
Mm-hmm.
Were you about to go in or no? Okay.
Nah, but you got to take Fields over Howell for sure. I mean, I'm not out on Fields. You got to wait a minute. I mean,
Yeah.
it's a 1-year deal from. It's a
Well-
1-year deal on Russell, and it's a good organization.
Pittsburgh played it really well.
Yeah,
right? You got
for
Russell
sure.
for nothing. You're paying Fields a little bit, but you can go in with Russell or you go in with Fields and see what you got. Probably going to go in the Russell, let Fields hang. If
Fields should take a year.
if Russell stinks, you got Fields, and then Fields can come in and the Patriots or the Steelers could just walk right into another, quarterback for 5 years with Fields and just get a cheat code with Arthur Smith there.
No one's gonna like hearing that.
Well, I mean, it could be. You could get the old Tannehill, Arthur Smith Titans from back in the day, and I mean, Fields is electric. So
For those of you who don't remember, there was a season where Tannehill crushed and AJ Brown crushed and Arthur Smith was involved. It could happen, okay? Could.
give it a Google.
It's worth a Google.
Losing my voice here at the end, so I'm powering through. Yeah, need some more throat coats.
Lozengers.
Need some more throat coats. Got to talk to the throat coat,
The throat goat.
Nancy Reagan. She'd just be topping them off. I
Never
guess.
heard of her.
Oh yeah, look her up. Look up throat goat Nancy Reagan.
Not on your work phone.
Probably not.
I'm not allowed to laugh. I'm getting beat up in the reviews. I'm okay getting beat up in the comments, but getting beat up on the reviews, cringe. Don't let the production guy on the show anymore.
We're gonna have to get you
Right.
a glass box. It's just you're just actually in the booth.
They're mad at my laugh.
Just stop wearing the same hat. Maybe they wouldn't think it's you. I don't know. Anyway, let's get back to the task at hand. We got Russell in the turn there. So, this end fella here, straight edge. He doesn't have any running backs, but he's got Fields and Watts, or Fields and Russell Wilson, and then Herbert and Kyler. So, he's trying to figure something out. You're not starting your team.
You don't have to set a lineup
after
the
this draft.
startup.
You can
That's
move
the
around.
phrase.
So currency order for Superflex tight end premium, I think, goes quarterbacks, wide receivers, tight ends, running backs, And so what he's doing is one of the two highest currencies, and he doesn't have to worry about the tight end. If he doesn't, have to do it again. If he doesn't want to tap it again, he's going hard in the paint on those guys. Now, some of these guys are a little older, so maybe he's saying I could trade some of my younger guys and still be competitive with the older guys. Who knows? Maybe he can pick up some twos for McLaurin or Evans if the season's not going well. But, don't hate the strategy there. Jaylen Warren at 11-3. That rushing attack with Pittsburgh is going to be hot and heavy. So Jaylen Warren probably going to get some good work. Hollywood at 11-4. Oh, doggy. Jalen Wright at 11-5. That's a nice pick there by Big Co. After I gave him a little tough love on the Zamir thing. But I don't hate the Jay Wright, but both of those guys could really pay dividends here in the 10th round, upside swings. Jamie Connie at 11-6. Keenan Allen, he's 38, so he's dead. Jalen Polk, 11-8, but Keenan just hangs, baby. You could get a fucking elite. Keenan might have had his best season ever last year.
Yeah.
And you could get a fucking elite production here in the 11th round and just be drafting young wide receivers who could value jump and a couple of middle of the roads, and then come grab Keenan and know you got a rock solid starter in the 11th round there. Jalen Polk at 11-8, Cortland Sutton 11-9, Komet 11-10, like that tight end premium. That's your second tight end, so I like that. Marshawn Lloyd at 11-11, Corum at 11-12, Dallas Goedert 12-1. Love that value. Pound the table for that. Nick,
not really pounding.
Nick Chubb 12-12 or 12-2 rather. Roman Wilson 12-3. I don't know that I love that, but I'm not tuned in on exactly where that should be. Romeo Doubs at 12-4, and then Charbonnet 12-5. Forgotten man right now. It seems like that whole backfield is maybe a little cheap. You could get Kenny 3 sticks and Sharbs and lock that shit down. For fairly cheap, and Kenny's probably going to come out and just do what Kenny does. Josh Downs 12-6, Raheed Shaheed 12-7. There's got to be some other wide receivers Jacoby Myers out here, Troy Franklin's out here. Johan Dotson.
CJ Stroud or Burrow and JJ McCarthy.
Probably Burrow and JJ McCarthy.
That's what I was thinking. So there you have it.
I mean, Stroud's goated already, apparently. So, I mean,
Oh, yeah.
he's good, I think. But, maybe people are worried about the Burrow wrist. So
His wrist?
That the heel from the injury.
It's just not his collarbone like Aaron Rodgers. Shout out to the OGs who know what the fuck I'm talking about.
Big Co. Was so concerned about that Aaron Rodgers collarbone. He's just off his board.
Oh, he had an MVP season after that. That's 3 collarbones, bro. Something wrong
There's
with
just
that.
nothing but pins and needles holding that thing together. Hit one more, he could be done.
Shout out to Big Co.
Arm just falls right up. Best part about it is bolts right on. Shout out to anybody who knows about Sunday morning 4x4 back in the day. All that dude had everything. The best part.
Fort by Fort?
4x4. Like it was like a truck show at Sunday morning
I
or
didn't have
Saturday
cable.
morning. And always, it was always like aftermarket parts. And he's like, and the best part about it is bolts right on.
I'm not allowed to laugh. Or we're not allowed to tell jokes. They're like, just get to the fantasy already. Stop trying to make it fun.
Yeah.
That's one of the F's are for fun, man. What? Come on. Bunch of haters.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna talk some shit and we're gonna have sidebars. So if you don't like that, go watch the 20-minute list shows. They're out there.
Don't let the liberal media
Right.
tell you how to think and feel.
All right. So we got there goes Jerry Jeudy. That's an interesting shot. Muth at the 12-11.
Jeez.
Great pickup there. He's got Mandrews as well. So
Huge
I like that.
buy, Friar Muth.
Yeah, I mean, I said it again. I say it. Got a comment that you didn't like. I said it before. I'll say it again. It was on the last Buy Low show that we just put out. I just didn't get to it. I got a big list.
He's on every Buy Low show we're on, for sure.
It's whole Steelers offense, baby.
Yeah.
Like
Settle down. It's Arthur Smith.
once again, that whole Steelers offense. Like, look at you got Fields and Russell at 10 and 11.
Yeah.
Let me get that. Muth at the 12th round. Jalen Warren at 11. Pickens is like seventh round. Like, let's fucking go. What a fun offense. Where'd Najee go? Najee 9, 10. Like, let me get that. There's going to be good productions. I'll go back up here real quick. Javonte Williams, we've been getting some questions about Javonte. There's been some rumblings of, Sean Payton, being, and there was a clip on Twitter. I think it got taken out of context. He was talking about the back end guys and didn't mention Javonte Williams. I think Javonte Williams is going to get plenty of run this year. He caught a decent amount of balls, but he didn't look right last year. He was coming off of a really gruesome injury where you didn't even think that he would play the whole season or even start, and he did
the whole season.
Now, do I think he'll be a Bronco next season? No. Do I think he'll be like crazy workhorse numbers this year? No, probably not. But I do think he's going to have a really good role in that offense. But a lot of should I trade? What should I trade? Unfortunately, the value is really down on Javonte Williams right now. Like, we just saw him go 9-12. So he's not a guy that it's going to warrant really any big trades. He's a guy that people are throwing into trades to, elevate the trade to maybe get a bigger fish there. So, and if that's the case, I don't mind it, but I'm not necessarily trying to get out right now and quote unquote sell low on Javonte Williams. I think there's some good play in there, and the value could bounce back a little bit with a couple of decent games and Javonte looking like, I mean, look, Broncos just weren't very good. Are the Broncos going to be good again? Not very good again, most likely. So, that doesn't bode well for Javonte, but he's one of those guys who has a lot of there's a fan club out there, and I don't think it would take much for the public to jump back on the Javonte bandwagon. So not terribly out on Javonte, but I'm not selling low because I'm worried of getting out. I think you could catch another window. Sinnott at 12-12. That's a wonderful stab by Straight Edge there. Love that. Pairing him up with Laporta. Oh, that's a chef's kiss right there. And wow, the known commodity with the rookie with potential with huge escalation. That's the way I'm going to play that every time. I love it. Sinnott has been a steady riser for us. He's mid second round in tight end premium. I think he's going to be out there and crush. He can do a lot of different things out on the field. Now there's already a little bit of buzz about Sinnott out there, so he's a name to watch. A player that I think could be rising all off season. The Sinnott, a great pick there. Then Eckler's his first running back off the board, so goes to Commanders right off the rip.
No, it's like so deep into this draft that it cannot be off of the rip. You're just
right off the rip.
You're just being a jerk now.
It's
not even
13-2. We got Myers. That's a great pick.
It's not even palpable.
13-3, that Schultz pick. I think that's a great pick. I mean, I know that they have a lot of target competition, but I mean, Schultz and Stroud already have a little bit of a rapport. Schultz could, easily be an end zone magnet. Plus, just like easy middle of the field stuff for Schultz could be. You're not going to get the volume you were maybe hoping for, and Schultz is down a few rounds, but I still think that's a solid pick there. And I think there'll be startability with Schultz there. I don't think he's dead. People are leaving him for dead, but I don't. You can get him. Get Schultz thrown into trades. Love that. Wicks 13-4, good pick. B-Rob for Brian Robinson. I think that's a great pick at 13-5 there by Big Co. And then he squeezed a little Burton in there. So we'll get back to his team in a second. Malachi Corley 13-6. Zach Moss. That's a nice pick too, man. I mean, Chase Brown, gets a lot of the shine, and maybe I like Chase Brown a lot. Big fan of Chase Brown. I want Chase Brown on all my teams. I'm trying to get him in all the trades. But Zach Moss had a really good year last year and could really be the guy who takes over this backfield. I hope it's going to be Chase. I think Chase is going to be the guy who's making the eye-popping plays, but Zach Moss could really be a really solid contributor for your team there. Musgrave and Kraft, I think those are also good stabs. I haven't been really pulling the trigger on those guys. I'm hesitant to, but mostly because of you could Spider-Man meme those two guys, and I think they're both good players, and there's so much else going on in that team that I feel like there could potentially be a headache there between Musgrave and Kraft and Kraft rather. Kendre Miller at 13-10 seems like really, really solid value.
Love it.
He's usually a round or two earlier. I don't even see Chase Brown. I don't think he's gone yet. I don't have the players pulled up, but I want to go back to this Big Co team real quick and take a peek at it.
Chase Brown's still on the board.
That was the there's two teams that didn't start off with a quarterback in the first two rounds. Big Co is one of them. Justin Jefferson, Puka Purdy, Nico Hawk, Watson, and then just a slew of rookies here. Brian Thomas, Keon Coleman, Ricky Pearsall, and then Zamir White, Jalen Wright, Burton, and then Robinson. So he's kind of got a mix-up of players. He's young enough that if he struggles year one, it's probably not the biggest deal in the world, but he could slay year one just as easily. He's going to need another tight end here at some point. We are only picking 15 rounds in the name of time. So
how much time you got, buddy?
I'd like to see him pick up somebody like, let's see here, Hunter Henry later would be all right for somebody like Hawkinson. Way later. We're talking 18th, 20th round or something like that. Somebody who I think is going to just get out there and get targets. And I think Hunter Henry is going to be that guy. Dulcich is a guy that I feel like if I'm looking through squads and teams and I'm doing some trading, I'm getting Dulcich put in every trade. Like, they don't have a tight end to speak of. They didn't, and even at the end of the day, Denver, their receivers are just questionable at best as well, right? I mean, you got Sutton, who seems to have one foot out the door. I would assume he makes it through this season, but then you have Mims and Franklin, who both could be awesome, really productive receivers, but they're nothing. And you got Tim Patrick. So, I mean, Dulcich, really athletic guy, really could be just slaying easy layups in the middle of the field for Sean Payton here with his new quarterback in Bo Nix. And if Bo Nix takes a liking to Dulcich, That's all it would really take. And there could be some PP, there could be startability in Dulcich, and there could be
some PP.
And I was gonna say PPR.
You didn't say the R.
I was gonna say PPR floor, and then another thought.
You need a hard R on the end of that PP.
Popped in there. Yeah, that's gonna get you a bad review right there. Just mute the mic. So Dulcich, baby. I like the Dulcich. Then we got
just hit me in the comments. Don't leave me a bad review. Come on. It's mean.
Marvin Mims 14-3, Raheem Mostert 14-4, Chase Brown 14-5, likely 14-6, Singletary. Woo, what a pick. That would have been a great pick for straight edge. At some point to get himself a startable running back there. Would have loved to see him. That's a perfect player for that kind of build that he has going on right there. He could have taken like a Brian Robinson and a Singletary. Maybe Eckler outperforms Brian Robinson potentially, but I think I would feel better about going Brian Robinson there. But maybe that's recency bias on Eckler not absolutely slaying it, but hopefully we can get the PPR back up on Eckler there. So we're rounding out this thing. I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time at the end of it. We usually do go over a lot of the teams, but my throat is barely hanging on here. So we're going to soldier through. Javon Baker there at 14-11 is strong pickup there. Let's see who some other receivers are on the board right now. Quentin Johnston, I'll still take a shot on him. This is right around that time. Shakir's kind of fun. Mike Williams hangs around. Michael Wilson.
Yeah. Pop Douglas.
That Zay Jones late round flyer is probably really good coming over there over into Arizona there. Probably hurting Michael Wilson's stock a little bit. Zay Jones is just going to go out there and most likely catch the footballs every game. That's kind of what he does.
He's my favorite player of all time for sure.
Pop Douglas is down here. Josh Palmer. I mean, Josh Palmer could be an absolute workhorse for the Chargers this year.
Let me get some Traylon.
Demario Douglas, Curtis Samuel, Jalen McMillan. There's still a nice little rookie stab there. Mooney.
No love for Traylon there?
Mooney hangs. I didn't even see Traylon. Where's Traylon?
He's there.
I don't see. Oh, I went to Traylon. Yeah, that's why I was reading. I was at Jalen McMillan, Darnell Mooney, Bateman, Cooks, Luke McCaffrey, Wandell, and then Burks.
Oh yeah, just skip down. My bad.
So yeah, I mean, I'll still take a shot on Traylon, but he's hanging around till
around. Every time you say that, I think of that song,
18,
and this is the first time I've said that.
I just saw him in round 18, and the one we're doing right now. He's hanging
around.
I would take McMillan over a lot of these players that are out here on this board. I might have to wait a year, but I got a lot of faith in him. I mean, Luke McCaffrey, late round scoop up, but I mean, those Levi's are strong. And, of course, already you're getting Luke McCaffrey hype of like, oh, he went out there, caught everything, just worked his tail off, just a stud. So we'll see what happens with Luke McCaffrey on there, but keep an eye on him. Mingo's down here.
He's down all right.
Thielen, Hyatt. Jalen Hyatt's, nobody likes him anymore. He's dead. Elijah Moore, Wandell. Yeah, some fun stabs down here.
Still no Traylon.
I love this Mooney. Traylon ain't going here.
Dude, how cheap can you get Traylon right now?
For somebody will give them to you.
Yeah.
They'll pay you to take them.
Yeah.
I mean, Gabe Davis stays around for a while. He's not fun, but I mean, he might get you some decent weeks here or there.
He's definitely a better player than Traylon at this point, but
yeah,
still.
You would. I love taking Darnell Mooney a little later. I think he's.
There's Quentin.
I think he's really about to come out there and have a nice little WR2 season. They got Rondell Moore and Drake London. That's pretty much it. I think Mooney is going to set up to have a really nice season down there in Atlanta and really have a nice little rise and be a good starter for you. So Quentin Johnston 15-7. Give me that all day long. That's a great little stab. For your pleasure. Big Co takes Sam Darnold at 15-5.
Like it.
Obviously, that's I don't know that you would necessarily need to take Sam Darnold at 15-5 there. if we were going longer, and that's just it's last pick, so I'm gonna take him. Darren Waller at 15-6. That's if he plays, maybe he crushes. If he doesn't, bummer of a pick there.
Michael Mayer right there at the end.
15-8, Michael Mayer.
All day.
I mean, Brock's there, gonna big cockblock Brock, just keeping Mayer out of the limelight.
I guess.
Jordan Travis, that's way too
point,
early for that. And I think, like I said, we're just in the last round, so we can't, keep this thing going and moving and shaking. So I think some of these players are maybe getting brought up a little bit, like the Josh Palmer, like the Antonio Gibson, Hunter Henry at 15-4. That's your second tight end. He sticks around. A lot of these players that just got picked, Zeke, Locke, Jordan Travis, Darnold, Waller, they all hang around. In some of the other drafts you're doing. Bucky Irving is a name that I'd bring up here. Keaton Mitchell's a name that I would start bringing up here. But was really looking strong, and I know he had a bad injury, but was looking really good. Looked like he was really ramping up, and then an injury. He has King Henry in front of him, but that could only be a year, and halfway through the season we could be seeing a lot of Keaton Mitchell. So there's a bunch more fun stabs as we would get later in here. So come over onto the Patreon side of things and do some more mocks with us. We're going to be reviewing some mock drafts and picking these things apart a little more. We're doing roster reviews over there. We got a little Jay Wayne has built a draft kit with a lot of stats for all your rookie pleasures. We got rookie rankings over there. I'm going through and updating my Dynasty overall rankings as well. So all that stuff will be up there.
ADPs
in the next week or two. We'll be putting out videos on that. We got
rookie draft.
We got rookie draft ADP. We're building post draft ADP. So come check all that up. There's a free Discord over at the Patreon. There's a $5 holler. If nothing else, let us get that like, comment, and subscribe on the tubes there.
Do it.
But lots of good stuff, lots of extra content, 3 extra episodes a month with the Patreon. So all sorts of bennies over there. Got to come check it out. So until next time, we're going to go live every other week or every week. I was under the weather last week and I'm still not quite recovered. So content dip was down, but we're on the rise. We're going back up. So we got some big stuff in the works. And we'll catch you guys soon.
I got a lot of problems with you people.
Peace.
Hit me in the comment section.
Thanks.